Welcome to the Prophecy Club. We're going to continue listening to Bill Schnoebelen. Bill is the author of 8 books. He was a Satanic and Voodoo high priest, a second-degree member of the Church of Satan, a New Age guru, an occultist, a channeler, a 90th degree Mason, a Knight Templar, a member of the Illuminati. He taught astrology, tarot cards, astral projection, and so you say he's a Christian? Yep, Jesus got a hold of him, he's a Christian. Now, before we go in to listen to him, I have some real important and exciting news to share with you. We've been waiting to be able to share this with you for a long time. WatchProphecyClub.com is now live. As you may have heard, the internet is not a reliable place to build a Christian ministry. Many have been closed down for some ridiculous reasons, which many believe was actually discrimination because they were a Christian ministry. Now, we've all known that the day would one day come when Prophecy Club's information, whether it's audio, video, or website, is all going to be pulled from the internet. You certainly don't think that the Antichrist is going to let us stay up there, do you? Well, we can't spend years building a Christian ministry to be left in the hands of the devil, only to have it pulled or killed to their discretion. So, here's what we're doing. We're in the process of pulling all Prophecy Club recordings from the internet, every place. Now, I'm talking about video recording. We'll leave the audio recordings out there. To build a continuous source for people to be able to continually access our videos so that they can't be turned off, we have now launched WatchProphecyClub.com, brand new site. It is a program to allow you to watch Prophecy Club titles without interruptions or commercials. Currently, it has 160 of our titles up on it, more adding every day. Eventually, it'll have over 300 titles. Would you give a monthly gift of $100 a month to watch over 300 titles? That's over $10,000 worth of Prophecy Club titles if you were to buy them all individually. Would you give a monthly gift of $100 to be able to watch them anytime you like? Well, my son and I discussed this for a long time, and we've decided to do something crazy, to offer a crazy low introductory rate, not $100. Would you give $50 a month to watch any Prophecy Club title anytime on any device? That's right, computer or your cell phone or your tablet or whatever it might be. Well, we've done even better than that. The introductory rate that we decided to offer for a limited time is a ridiculously low gift of only $20 a month recurring monthly subscription. Now, yes, we do expect the rate to rise. We don't know exactly when that's going to happen. However, you can also get a 1-year subscription of $200, which recurs yearly. And none of this has a contract you can cancel anytime you want. But, of course, your best deal is to get a yearly subscription. That way, it'll lock in a rate. Even when we go up, your rates will stay the same. It's WatchProphecyClub.com. Let me say this again. A gift of $20 a month, recurring monthly subscription, allows you access to over 300 Prophecy Club titles on any device, anytime you want. Only $20 a month to access all of them? Yes. Some 24 years of DVDs, videotapes, all recording, now available, WatchProphecyClub.com. Yes, the software company is continuing to work on building Watchman'sTrumpet.com, which will be a video email program. Here's the way it works. You go in and you pre-purchase credits, and then you email gift viewings of Prophecy Club titles to your friends. Yes, you can go ahead and send them to WatchProphecyClub.com now, but I guess I don't have to tell you that trying to get someone to watch a Prophecy Club recording is sometimes not so easy, especially for some of your skeptical friends. So getting them to watch where you paid in advance for a recording and asking them to watch it is going to increase the likelihood of them watching it. Well, again, that's Watchman'sTrumpet.com, which is still coming. It's still in the process of being made. Now, we're not certain if WatchProphecyClub.com and Watchman'sTrumpet.com websites will merge or not, or operate as two separate sites. But for now, the best deal on the planet is $20 a month or $200 a year to lock your rate in to access up to 300 Prophecy Club titles anytime on any device. Best deal going. This is going to allow people around the globe. No longer do you have to wait for DVDs. You don't have to wait for them right now. $20 a month. You can go in there anytime you want. And of course, you can cancel anytime you want. But best deal, sign up for that 1 year access, $200. That way you lock in, even if we go up, and we will be going up, but if we go up, your rate is going to be locked in. WatchProphecyClub.com is now live. You can log on and begin watching now. Over 160 titles with more being added every day. We expect probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll have over 300 titles added up there. WatchProphecyClub.com, and you can watch this on any of your devices. It's amazing. I think it's the best deal we've ever offered, and I'm very excited about it. I'm very, very excited about it. WatchProphecyClub.com. Now, at the end of the program, I'm not going to be offering, hey, you can get this or that for some great gift offer. I don't have to anymore. Now, yes, if you want the discs, you can still call or go online and order discs. But I think most people are going to just simply, Prophecy Club is a club, okay? About time we start asking people to join the Prophecy Club. So join the Prophecy Club. Go to WatchProphecyClub.com. $20 a month. Access to 24 years of Prophecy Club titles. Guys, it's amazing. It doesn't get any better than this. Think of all of those DVDs. A lot of them that you probably never even heard of. You've never seen them. I mean, how many people have seen all 300 Prophecy Club titles? Probably nobody. But now you can access them on your computer or on your cell phone or your iPad all the time. Give to $20 a month or $200 a year. Again, that's what the access fee is right now. But, of course, it's probably going to go up. Right now, best deal, WatchProphecyClub.com. WatchProphecyClub.com. And, yes, we're still asking for donations for Watchman'sTrumpet.com. As a matter of fact, it is the first of the month, and I need to send off another $5,000 check. Actually, I really need to send him about a $20,000 check because he needs $90,000 before he will let Watchman's Trumpet go live. However, right now, you can join WatchProphecyClub.com. If you want to give to Watchman'sTrumpet.com, and I certainly recommend you do that, then if you'll let us know that's for Watchman's Trumpet, and or if you will put a 7 as the last digit in your gift, then we will know. That one's for Watchman's Trumpet, and right now you're going to get double credit for the credits when Watchman's Trumpet comes online. In other words, you give about $1,000 gift or more, and you're going to have unlimited emailing. In other words, not only are you going to be able to watch Prophecy Club videos anytime you want, but you will be able to email unlimited numbers of those to all of your friends, not just across America, but around the globe. You're going to be able to send people in like Australia, say, hey, buddy, I watched this DVD. I bought this for you. Go ahead and click right here and watch it. And they can watch your choice, or you can give them a choice of, at least this is what we plan, several or maybe even all. You can go watch any of them, and it comes, in other words, you paid for it. It's your credits in advance. Now, it's not much. It's probably going to be $1 or $2 per viewing, not much. But when they discover that you paid for it, it's a gift, it increases the likelihood that they'll actually watch it rather than just sending them, well, hey, man, go check this out. Or you can still send them to WatchProphecyClub.com. WatchProphecyClub.com, gift of $20 a month recurring monthly subscription, or $200 a year yearly recurring subscription. WatchProphecyClub.com. It's online for the first time today, May 1st, Illuminati Day. I think that's kind of good. I think that's cool. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go on over and now listen to all the information about the Illuminati. We're going to go listen to one of the most popular of all recordings, Exposing the Illuminati from Within by Bill Schnoebelen.
There's even a saint called Saint Gregory the Thaumaturge, which in Greek means Saint Gregory the Wonder Worker. And this is one of the lines that came in on this false tree. You see, remember, we already discussed this. You cannot have Satanism without Catholicism. Now you say, that's kind of a bizarre statement. But that's because the whole foundation of Satanism is the Catholic Mass, is the idea of them literally believing they have the body and blood of Yeshua. And this is also the basis of the vampire cultus that I was a member of, that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. In fact, it's interesting, how many of you know that the person who's like the Jesus of the vampire cult is a Wallachian nobleman by the name of Vlad Tepes, Dracula. Probably heard of him by the name Dracula. And one of the reasons why he was believed to be a vampire is that he was born and raised Eastern Orthodox, but for political reasons he converted to Roman Catholicism. And in the eastern parts of Europe, and if any of you have lived there, you know these people take this stuff very seriously. Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Romania. They used to believe that if you became a Roman Catholic, you would turn into a vampire. Isn't that interesting? Here's another interesting thing. How many of you heard of the doctrine of incorruptibles in Catholicism, Roman Catholicism? They teach that there are certain saints, probably 100 of them or so, that are so holy, that are so wonderful before Yahweh, that when they die, their bodies don't corrupt. And they have, like, for example, St. Clare. Her body still exists somewhere in a church in Italy on display, and it has never rotted. It's hardly changed from the day that it was first interred. There's dozens of saints like that. And this is a sign of sanctity. Plus, there's a perfume that comes off their bodies that smells like flowers. Now, isn't that's a wonder? But now here's the flip side of that. In the Orthodox Church, in the Eastern Rite of Eastern Europe and Russia, they teach that if you are a vile, evil, despicable person, and or a suicide, and or someone who becomes a Roman Catholic, when you die and are buried, you are so vile the earth will spit you up and refuse to decay you. And so your body remains incorruptible. So it's like, which is it? And that's where the idea came about, again, of the vampire being this incorruptible dead dude who rose from his grave to suck the blood of the living. Is again because they felt that this incorruptibility was a sign of being under a horrible curse, because they felt it was a natural part of the way things were, that when our bodies die, they decay and return to the earth. So you make the choice on that. But here's the thing you need to understand, is that the whole vampire thing, as it's currently constituted, could not exist independently of the Roman Rite today. Now, the other thing is, we've got to talk for a moment about the Society of Jesus. Now, some of you may know that under another name, the Jesuit Order. What many of you may not know is it was started about 500 years ago by a Spanish warrior nobleman named Ignatius Loyola. That's why if you see Loyola colleges and Loyola high schools, those are Jesuit institutions. But how many of you know that Bill Clinton was Jesuit trained? And you can tell. One of the interesting things the Jesuit Order has is the doctrine of mental reservation. Oh, you know what it is, right? Mental reservation is the idea that you can say anything you want as long as mentally you're thinking something else. So it's sort of like you're saying, like with your hand, when you're a kid, you could make a promise that you had your hands tied behind your back, crossed, your fingers, then it didn't count. Well, that's this doctrine that it wasn't a sin for a Jesuit to lie if it was for the greater glory of God and if he had a mental reservation. That's right up there with what is the meaning of is. You know, you can see the similarities there. The apple did not fall too far from the clifotic tree, so to speak. Anyway, this Ignatius Loyola had some kind of an experience while he was recovering from having a cannonball shoot his leg. And then while he was convalescing, he felt called, quote unquote, to become a servant of the light. And he started this order, and the original name he gave the order was Los Ilumbrados. Remember, he was Spanish. Los Ilumbrados means the illuminated ones in Spanish. In other words, he called it the Illuminati. Now, this was well over 100, 150 years before the word Illuminati was used. Anyhow, he taught to the Pope. The Pope thought that wasn't a good idea, so instead they called it the Society of Jesus, because that sounds so much nicer than the Illuminati, doesn't it? But what's funny is if you study the Jesuits, as they are called, they are the most disciplined of the Catholic clergy. They're the most ruthless of the Catholic clergy, and they go through very extensive mental exercises called the spiritual exercises of Ignatius Loyola, which basically teach you Hermetic magic. They teach you how to do mental magic, even though they don't call it that. In fact, one of the leading occultists of the 20th century, Dion Fortune, she was the most prominent feminine occultist of the 20th century. She said, if you can't find an occult fraternity or an esoteric order to join to learn how to do ceremonial magic, and if you happen to be male, join the Jesuit order. They'll teach you the exact same thing. So, anyhow, down through the years, you will find the fingerprints of the Jesuit order on much of Illuminism. In fact, what's interesting is, one of the principles of Illuminism is you create these false oppositions. Like, for example, Nazism and Zionism, or capitalism and communism. You create these false things, and then you put them together and work something out. Well, what's interesting is, very early on in the history of modern Masonry, Catholicism came out against it big time. And up until the pontificate of John Paul II, if you became a Mason like that, you were excommunicated from the Roman Church. Did you know that? But he removed that restriction, the last pope. What's interesting is the Scottish Rite is the most esoteric and anti-Christian branch of Freemasonry, of the two that exist in America. And there's a lot of evidence to indicate that the Jesuits helped write the degree work for the Scottish Rite. So even though publicly the Jesuits and the Masons are at each other's throats, privately the Jesuits helped create one of those prominent branches of Masonry. So here's these two magical currents. You'll notice the two red lines there going down. Notice there's three columns. And the one red column that is, I guess it would be on your right, is the false Cliphotic Kabbalah of the apostate Jews and occultists. And then the one on the other side is the Catholic current of apostate Christendom. But what's this middle pillar? What about that? Well, the middle pillar is the joining of the other two to form the chametz, the leaven of Protestant Christianity, which I submit to you is Freemasonry. Because Freemasonry is in most Protestant churches. I mean, except for maybe a handful of either very, Pentecostal type churches, and even they're not safe anymore. In a few fundamentalist churches, some of the real strict Lutherans like Missouri Synod and Wisconsin Synod Lutherans don't allow you to be a Mason. There's a handful of those groups. But for the most part, like the largest Protestant denomination in the world, what is it? The Southern Baptist Convention. Dr. Walter Martin used to joke that he said, and he was Southern Baptist, he says, the Southern Baptists are growing so fast that by the time of the year 2000, there'll be more Southern Baptists than there are people. And the Southern Baptists will not condemn Freemasonry. More than half the pastors in the Southern Baptist Convention are Masons. And there's jokes about how if the Southern Baptists kicked out the Masons, there'd be only about a quarter left of their church membership. So these two things have come together, and the middle pillar, quote unquote, is Freemasonry and Illuminism. And that's why we have the problem we have today. This is what is called the doctrine of convergence. Now, in Masonry, especially in Scottish Rite Masonry, you're taught about the royal secret. When I was made a 32nd degree Mason, and you saw the certificate back a few minutes ago, I was made a sublime prince of the royal secret. My, don't that sound fine, though? Sublime prince of the royal secret. I'm a sublime prince of the royal secret, The funny thing is, if you ask a Scottish Rite 32nd degree Mason, what's the royal secret? I don't know. They might quote you some motto, like my hope is in God, which is the motto of the Scottish Rite. But they don't know. They don't know what it is. One Scottish Rite Mason in 1,000 knows what the royal secret is. But this royal secret has come down from the days of Nimrod, the days of Babylon, to this very day. And I'm going to trace out its path. You got the Babylonian mystery cults and Egyptian mystery cults. Why do I call them mystery cults? Because as I mentioned earlier, you were not allowed to just walk in the door and see what they're doing. You had to go through rituals, harrowing ordeals and initiations. And both the Babylonians and the Egyptian mystery cults were based on what is a very common theme in all of this. S-E-X. Sex. Because these people worshipped the fact that nature, including human beings, could make more of itself. That was really neat. Like, wow, a baby, poop, there he is. They didn't get it. They in fact, the Egyptians originally were so out of it, they didn't realize that a guy was even involved in making the baby, because it took 9 months for the baby to get done in the oven and emerge, So they thought this was a great miracle, and it is a great miracle. But again, like Paul says in Romans 1, they're worshiping the creature rather than the creator. But that's why if you look all over Egypt, for example, you'll see pyramids, you'll see obelisks. What's an obelisk? Well, look at the Washington Monument. That's an obelisk. Look at the thing that's in the center of St. Peter's Square. It's an obelisk. It's a symbol of the male organ. And that's what they worship down through the centuries. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Then there's the Cliphotic mystery religion that started about 100 BC. And then right about the time Christianity was just gathering steam, along came these Gnostic mystery religions. Now, what's Gnostic mean? Well, it comes from the Greek word gnosis, which means knowledge. And Gnostics were people who believed you had to be saved by secret knowledge. They thought that the simple gospel, as presented by John and Paul and the apostles, that was too easy. They said to themselves, any doofus could do that. And these were Greeks. The Greeks, they were really puffed up about how smart they were. I mean, they had Socrates, they had Plato, they had, Euripides. You've heard the joke about the Greek tailor. He says, Euripides, Eumenides. Sorry. I'll try not to do that again. Anyway, and so they wanted something real complex. And so they came up with this idea of all of these aeons and archons and layers of heaven, and just everything was super, super complicated. And along the way, the Gnostics also came up with the idea that matter was evil and that spirit was good. And so therefore they taught a heresy of Christianity that was technically called Docetism. Docetism taught that Yeshua never existed in human form. He just walked through earth like a phantom, because they could not conceive of a godlike being becoming a human being. That was blasphemy for them, because the flesh was evil. And see, that's why John, when he wrote his gospel, remember the first chapter of John? They call it the prologue. But that's a ringing indictment against the Gnostics. Because what does he say there in John 1, I think it's 1:14? And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. I get goosebumps just when I say that. Because, see, the word in Greek is logos. And the Gnostics put the logos way up here. It was this lofty thing right underneath what they called the pleroma, which was the fullness of the unknown deity. And that's right. Yeshua is way up there. But by saying the logos became flesh, Paul was basically throwing down the gauntlet, John, because remember, he lived a long time. John was writing his epistles way at the end of the first century, right? And so by this time, the Gnostics had started to come forward, and so that was his attempt to say, no, Gnosticism is wrong, Christianity is more balanced. Well then, after the Gnostics came along pre-Islamic sorcery and alchemy. Now a lot of people don't realize that Islam started in the 6th century, but before that there was this real strange culture of Arabs and Bedouins and whatever that existed in the Arabian Peninsula. And there was a lot of sorcery going along, a lot of alchemy going on. In fact, the very word alchemy, one of its meanings is from Chem, al-Chem, the Chem being a city in Egypt. So there was a lot of weird occult stuff and it's funny, even after Muhammad came along and brought in a kind of monotheism, there was still a lot of magical stuff going on. Then we have, around the year 1000, the assassin cult. Now this is where the steam really starts rolling in terms of the conspiracy. This was started by a fellow named Hassan-i-Sabah. Now Hassan-i-Sabah was called the Old Man of the Mountains, and he lived in the Alamut Mountains. in I think what is now modern-day Iraq, although I could be wrong on that. Anyway, he was the head of a sect of Islam that's still around to this day. It's a very tiny sect, and it's persecuted by the Sunnis and the Shia sects of Islam. It's called the Schneobelen sect of Islam. And this guy was like its caliph, is the word they use in Arabic. He was its head. And he knew he had the whole world of Islam ganging up on him. And if he wanted to survive, he had to be cunning. He had to be devious. He had to be a conspiracy type guy. This is the man that's credited with inventing espionage. This is the man that's credited with inventing the idea of a mole. And by mole, I don't mean some little rodent that's out there digging up your yard. And in espionage, a mole is when you take an agent and bury him deep inside your enemy's organization for like maybe a decade, maybe 15, maybe 20 years, and leave him sit there. Everybody thinks he's fine, and then at a key moment, the mole comes up and somehow betrays you, hence the word mole. And so here's how he did it. This guy had the first mind control cult. He had this beautiful castle in the mountains of Alamut. And he would, if someone wanted to join his group, he would invite them to the castle. And at this point, he would give them the most sumptuous meal imaginable. What he didn't tell them is that meal was laced with hashish. Now, hashish is a very concentrated distillation of marijuana, and it's fun. I've used my share of it, I'll tell you. I mean, it is it's a very powerful thing in that it makes everything taste better, feel better, smell better. You may have heard like people that smoke marijuana, they get the munchies. You know, they go through 5 bags of potato chips in 1 hour, you know. It's because everything tastes so good. Well, this is even more so. So he gives these people this stuff without telling them what it is. And it was his own special blend of Alamut hashish. And when they were thoroughly whacked out of their minds, he would have them led into this inner garden of his palace. And this garden was just gorgeous. I mean, palm trees, fruits everywhere. And there were these beautiful girls that were there to service these men in any way they wanted, you know, sexually.
And unfortunately, I've got to break in right there, but I do encourage you, go to watchprophecyclub.com. It's now live, watchprophecyclub.com. You can sign up, $20 a month, recurring monthly subscription, and watch now over 160 titles, and within a few weeks, over 300 different Prophecy Club titles. All for a gift of $20 a month or $20 a year. Yes, we do know that the gift amount is going to be increasing, but you can lock it in by going ahead and getting a 1-year gift of $200, recurring yearly subscription, and lock in the amount. You can watch all of the Prophecy Club DVDs, 160 titles now, eventually to 300 here in the next few weeks. All of them, anytime you want, for a gift as low as $20 a month. Yes, it's going to go up, but at least $20 a month. That's the introductory offer, or $200 a year recurring yearly subscription. WatchProphecyClub.com. WatchProphecyClub.com. I think it is the best deal I've ever seen. Yes, we're still looking for gifts to help us get Watchman's Trumpet online. That's a different video email program. But right now, WatchProphecyClub.com is live online. You can immediately start watching for a gift of $20 or more. Oh, by the way, you can cancel within 3 days, or actually you can cancel anytime you want to. $20 a month, recurring monthly subscription. Now watch over 160 titles, eventually over 300 Prophecy Club titles. Wow, what a deal. WatchProphecyClub.com. WatchProphecyClub.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your gifts of support. God bless.